Hey everybody, I'm going to be showing you some footage of me installing an H&R rear sway bar on my 2022 Volkswagen Golf R. You can see it here in this footage. It's quite dirty. This is my daily. I also have my winter set on. That's why you see the Volkswagen Gol 18-inch wheels there with the Blizzaks on it. I actually started originally filming this back at the beginning of September when it was nice and warm outside. I was going to do a trip to Tail Dragon. Unfortunately, there were some delays with backorder parts. Here you see it's already installed, so I'm going to take you through some footage of me going through the process, along with part numbers and some tips and tricks, hopefully for you. Installing a stiffer rear sway bar is a very popular modification in the golf community. If you just open up Google and type in Golf R rear sway bar mod, you'll notice that there are several results on forums, on Reddit, people talking about, is it worth it and what's your experience with it, and the results are usually positive. The one I'll be installing is a non-adjustable rear sway bar. I just want a one setting does all type of sway bar. I don't want to have to bother getting underneath the car and readjusting what hole the links go in to make it stiffer or less stiff. Unfortunately, I'm living in a rental house at the moment and it has a very small one-car garage, and space is quite restricted. So if you're in the same situation as me, this might help you out a little bit. I ordered my sway bar from bmptuning.com, although there's many other places you can get the same sway bar from. Just go to sway bars, look up the Golf, and you'll see the H&R. It's the rear 25 millimeter. The stock sway bar is 22 millimeter. Notice down here it says include sway bar and hardware. As far as mounting hardware goes, it only comes with the bushings. For the Endlinks, I went ahead and went with the Moog Endlinks. You can order them from rockauto.com. And once again, look up the Volkswagen Golf R. These are metal compared to the stock plastic Endlinks, so they're going to wind up being much better. And they're fairly affordable too. So here's the part number for these Endlinks in case you want to order them as well.
And when they came in, I went ahead and sprayed them off with some brake cleaner, clean them up real nice, any oil residue, and I went ahead and taped off the ends. So what I'm going to do here is use some paint and paint the metal area since they are unpainted here. And in the rust belt, this will just offer some extra protection. So I got my Endlinks hanging up here, and I think what I'm going to end up doing is using this Rust-Oleum undercoating. It's meant for undercarriages and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure regular paint will be fine, but this just kind of looked interesting and I want to test this out. I'm going to go ahead and give these 2 or 3 coats, probably over some time, and that should probably be good. Here's my painted Endlinks. Did about 3 coatings on them. So the next thing we're going to do is flush out the grease that came with these links. The grease it ships with is really, really thin, and it can cause noise in the suspension later on, so we're going to pump it full of a thicker grease. On the forums, a lot of people were doing stuff like Valvoline PTFE. I was at Walmart when I bought that rubberized coating, so I just went ahead and picked up some Lucas Oil extra heavy duty grease. I figured this would be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and start flushing the grease out of there and pumping some new stuff in. Gave it a couple pumps of grease through the grease port here, and you can see that it pushed the grease out of the other side. So I know I've flushed all the old stuff out, and we'll see how that does.
Well, apparently it was back ordered for 4 months, but I guess it's here now.
The hardware on here is one-time use. So I went to the dealership and I ordered 2 of these, and there's the part number right there. It starts at the N. I bought 4 of these. There's their part number. 2 of these. There's your part number. And I got 2 of these. I don't remember what the part number on them was, but I may not need them because my Moog Endlinks came with that same nut. So if you get the Moog Endlinks, you don't have to worry about ordering those 2 larger nuts. Here's my sway bar. You can see you have the new bushings on the ends. Once I get the old one off, I'll line up those metal braces and get everything ready to go. Okay, so I got the back portion of my car pulled into this very tiny garage. What I'm going to do here is jack up the back end, and then I'm going to put it on jack stands. So I don't have a whole lot of room to work with, and as you can see, there's our pinch weld to lift from. But of course, when we have a jack and a jack stand, they both can't occupy the same space. So what I'm going to try doing is jacking it up by the front pinch weld. These cars are stiff enough, so the back end should also lift up on the same side, and then I'll place the jack stand down. I've decided to reverse directions because, yeah, there's just not enough room in this tiny, tiny garage to get that jack perpendicular to the car, or perpendicular enough to lift it high enough without the jack twisting. So, reverse directions. I can open this door, get my jack under there. Should have enough room here. This sucks. I hate this garage. I can't wait to get out of this rental house and into a house of my own soon. So, as you can see, jacked up the front pinch, and the back is lifted. So I'm just going to go ahead and now place my jack stand under the second pinch with the rag, just to kind of keep that paint from scraping off and being a place for possible rust to accrue in the future. I don't know it's overkill, but you know, jack stands always make me nervous, even though I've been messing with them for 20 years. If you're not a poor me trying to buy a house right now, I would invest in the quick jack. That's definitely going to be in my future. I have it jacked up, and I had put some oh shit jacks there, just in case things go south, which I don't think they will. I have enough time to get out, maybe. I hope I don't die. Okay, it's going to be a 10 millimeter to get these 2 bolts off to remove this plastic cover. Those bolts are removed. So now we have 2 fasteners. We'll get a flathead screwdriver, remove one there. And then there's one up over here closer to the wheel. Okay, got that cover removed. So we have access to our sway bar link here. Now I'm going to remove the other side. All right, with both plastic covers removed, I'm going to remove this 13 millimeter through bolt. So I will need something to back it up on the other side. Okay, what I did here is I loosened that out all the way out, just on the tip, and now I'm going to use a soft mallet to tap it out. Might have to do this off camera. Okay, so I got it tapped out most of the way. Now I'm just going to go ahead and use the threading to work this bolt the rest of the way out. Yeah, well, no noise. Cool. Some ice. It's still cold outside. Both of those bolts out of the way now. going to move to these brackets that hold the sway bar on. They are a 10mm triple square. There's going to be 2 on each side for a total of 4. And these will be replaced, just like the through holes will also be replaced. For the top bolt, I found it to be better to approach this from the back side of the control arm, because there's not a whole lot of room to work with here, especially with the ride height sensor being in the way, and that's something you don't want to break. All right, the bolts are out, so I'm going to use my little soft mallet and the end of the extension to kind of bump the bottom of this end link, and that should give it out of this control arm. We should be free to pull this out after that. Now we are free, so we have to figure out how to finagle this thing out. Of course, you know, they always say drop the exhaust, makes it a lot easier, but it is possible to get it out, especially I don't have an exhaust hanger tool. So I need to get it around this exhaust pipe here. I think the proper way to do this is to drop the driver's side first and then rotate it out. So let's see how we can do that. Yeah, that was not easy. What I well, I got it out in one piece, but for one, car could be jacked up a little bit higher. I kind of had to move it to the passenger side and then rotate the driver's side down. And once I got that down, the odd rotation through this cavity, and while moving the end link and trying to get the bushing out of this space here between the differential and exhaust was insanely hard. It took me probably about 10 minutes to get that out. Luckily, when we put the new one in, I'll be putting the bushings and brackets in place after it's installed. So let's go ahead and get that next sway bar ready to go. Here's a comparison of our sway bars here. So I'm not going to bother taking the end links off the old one since I have my new end links, but I will be taking these metal brackets off to reinstall on the new bar. Okay, I got the new bar up there and in place. This time I put it up there without the end links. I'm going to see how it is to get them installed afterwards, especially since I don't need to get a triple square from behind the springs with the Moogs. So all I did was kind of lightly thread these in, just enough to hold it up for me, but it offers me, you know, flexibility to rotate it or slide it one way or another just slightly. I'm going to go ahead and install the Endlinks, get those kind of finger tight, get the through holes in there finger tight, and then I'm going to snug everything down. And once I do that, we'll go ahead and preload the suspension and do the final torques. Okay, got the end link in with the through hole, so head of the bolt at the front of the car, nut at the rear. Get it up here. Got the studs pointing outwards. I remove the nut, and now we're going to go ahead and pull the sway bar in place and throw the nut on loosely. Got all of my hardware at least threaded on somewhat. There's those 2 triple squares, the through holes threaded on, and I have the nut on the other side of the sway bar link. This is on both sides, ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is snug them up, but not torque them. For the brackets where the bushings are, I'm going to alternate those little by little so that bracket gets pulled onto the bushing evenly. For the Endlink, it's going to be a 15 millimeter on the nut and an 18 millimeter wrench to hold back on it. All of the hardware is snugged up, so what we're going to do, because this does need to be torqued on a loaded suspension, is we're going to preload each side of the car one at a time by putting a jack with a block of wood under the control arm and lifting the control arm without lifting the body off of the jack stand. And once we do that, we'll go ahead and do our 3 torques. The through hole bolt on the bottom here is going to be 20 Newton meters, and then 180 degrees after that. These triple squares on the bracket are also 20 Newton meters, and then 90 degrees after that. And then the torque for the nut on the Endlink, where it connects to the sway bar, is going to be 55 Newton meters. The driver's side is preloaded with our jack. I got it up as high as I could without lifting it up off the jack stand. And now we are going to do our torques. Driver's side is torqued down, so I've preloaded the passenger side, and now time to torque this one.
My mic was off during this clip, but our torque is finished. The jack is removed from the control arms, and we are ready to start putting everything back together on this car. So the plastic covers are going to go back onto the bottom, and then we are going to lower the car off the jack stands, and we should be finished. And here the covers are reinstalled, so I'm just going to do a quick pan just to kind of give you an overall look of the sway bar. So how does the sway bar feel? Well, it feels great. Even on these winter set of tires, I can notice the large differences between these everyday corners that go around. There's much less understeer, especially when you're diving into a corner. And overall, it just feels great. I really cannot wait to get my summer tires back on this car next month and really truly see how this bar handles around some spirited driving on curvy roads. So thanks for joining me on this video for the sway bar install, and I will see you next time.